Hi, this is Sherry Miller Jolly with Dental Support Essentials, and I want to talk to you guys today about outsourcing your dental billing. Dental Support Essentials is a dental accounts receivables company, and we are, in fact, an outsourcing company for dental offices in about 11 states. And outsourcing is fairly new to dentistry, and there's a reason why. Things have changed in dentistry. So you're starting to hear outsourcing, you're starting to hear about it, you're starting to know that these things exist that didn't exist 10 years ago. As a matter of fact, we've been in business for 3 years. We've been in since 2015, and the number of companies that do what we do has exploded in that time period. And the reason for that is insurance. Insurance has changed the way you do business, and insurance has changed the way patients find you. As a matter of fact, there are basically the two best ways to be found or get a new patient are word of mouth referrals and being on an insurance list. And we can help you with both of those. But first, let's dive into why it's different than it was 10 years ago. It's simply because there's more. More patients have insurance, and there are more different types of plans and more variations. And as a result, the same number of staff that you had 10 years ago can't actually do all the steps, or they can, but it's a lot harder. It takes more time because there's just more to do and there are just more variables. So the number one thing that the doctors that I talk to say is that their staff is reporting to them that there aren't enough hours in the day. And they're asking them to hire more people. And the doctor is looking at trying to figure out how to keep his costs down and is looking for an alternative to hiring a bunch more people. Another common thing that I find with doctors that I talk to is that they had a person who was everything, who did it all. And then that person left. And now the practice isn't working the way it needs to work because nobody knows what that person did, or they are having a hard time training someone on their software, and those types of things. So we exist to fill in those gaps. We create the security, we create the smooth running system that your claims go out every day, that your claims are followed up on every day, that your statements are going out that need to go out. And in those types of things, no matter who's on vacation, no matter who is sick, no matter who leaves your practice. And that is a great alternative to expanding your payroll and adding to your payroll. The other thing that it does is it gives your staff the time back to have that relationship with the patient, that interpersonal relationship, because there are more dentists now than there were before. And so the difference between you and the doctor down the block is how the patient feels about you. And so your staff has that time now to engage the patient. And that's how we help you get that second type of referral, which is the most important, the word of mouth referral. But there are ways to successfully introduce outsourcing to your practice, and then there are ways to set it up to fail. And I want to talk to you about that, about a successful implementation of outsourcing in your practice. On more than one occasion, I've talked to a doctor who has showed me what's going on with their accounts receivable process, and then they introduce us to their staff. And in the meeting with the staff, this has happened, I can't tell you how many times. There's a person whose job it was to chase all the claims and call all of the insurance company. And this is the person who's stressed out and overwhelmed and usually is, working too many hours and just kind of really just buried. That person was not told that the doctor was getting them help. The doctor's getting the person the help that they need, and as a positive thing, but it becomes a negative thing in that employee's mind because they weren't told about it. And that person more than once has said to me, that's everything that I do. What am I supposed to do now? And so that person now believes that their job is in jeopardy. So it is critical when you introduce outsourcing into your office, to not introduce it in a way that makes your staff feel negative about that. And one of the ways you do that is by redefining your expectations of the staff. When you introduce the outsourcing, when you say, I understand and I believe that you can't get all of this done in a day, and I'm going to get some help for you, but when I get this help for you, I'm going to expect this to happen. These things that you're behind on, these tasks that you're behind on, I'm going to expect that the schedule is full. I'm going to expect that the recall is caught up, or whatever it is that that person doesn't have time to do because they're just always being consumed with the billing and the accounts receivable. It truly is the difference between a successful outsourcing relationship and an unsuccessful one. And it really almost always has to do with how the staff perceives this. But if they believe that their job is in jeopardy, or they believe that bringing outsourcing in is a statement, a negative statement about the performance that they're doing in your office, they're not going to be our partner. They're just not. But when they see the value of it, when they feel the relief of being able to get their job done, when they see the improvement and they have the ease of dealing with the patients and they go back to building that relationship, then they love us. But we have to get to that point where they love us. And particularly when we're first being introduced and you assign that person to be our contact, to be our liaison, we need that person to be on board. So introducing outsourcing effectively is almost as important as getting your staff the help they need in outsourcing. Hope that helps you. If you're interested in outsourcing your verification, your accounts receivable, or some of the other things that we do for you, do for dentists, credentialing, all of those things, look us up on dentalsupportessentials.com. Have a great day.